Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of Terminator Dark Fate. Alright, so cast and crew information down below, and we'll get to the IMDb plot here. An augmented human and Sarah Connor must stop an advanced liquid Terminator from hunting down a young girl whose fate is critical to the human race. Alright. So yeah, venturing away from horror and a little bit into action slash sci-fi here. Um, not always with Terminator. I kind of debate about doing a review for this because again, not really horror, but why not? Close enough sci-fi and action, and hell, it's Terminator, so why not? Um, Obviously, I didn't get to see this when it came out, so just recently got to check this out, and I, you know, tried to stay away from some of the reviews because a lot of them said spoiler alert, and so forth. And there's a lot of talk going into this movie, lots of rumors and stuff about certain things that happen. So I'm gonna try to keep this fairly spoiler free, but I can't guarantee everything. Um, I guess there's one major event that kind of takes place at the beginning of this movie that kind of changes things, and I mean the way the franchise plays out, they could always reverse this event or this what happens. I mean, because you're talking about futures that are constantly getting changed because people are going back in time. So, you can take it for what it's worth. I mean, it could be something permanent or something they decide to change if they do another one. Who knows how many more Terminators we have to go, or, I mean, this is a franchise that just can't keep going. It's proven to have them with and without Arnold, and with and without Linda Hamilton, and with and without some of the other names that have been involved. Um, but yeah, I mean, but it's fun. I mean, it's a good action. When I think of Terminator, I first think it's action, and maybe that's because of Arnold. But it definitely has a sci-fi, but definitely built on big action scenes. And if especially when you get to like the second and third part. The first one was done a long time ago, and did have some good action. But I guess once they got into the sequels, they really and some time had passed. Um, they were able to do a lot more with action scenes, and really did some really good ones. Regardless of whether you thought the movies were any good or not, at least they seem to have some good quality action scenes. Um, so with that, this movie, um, what you'll notice here in this movie, and maybe let me see, Oh, I got 6.3 here at IMDb. So I guess I don't know. I remember hearing, I don't know, maybe it didn't do as well money wise or whatever, but I remember, if correctly, people saying that it didn't get as big draw as everybody thought. But 6.3 is not bad. Um, but what you have here is they never called this a remake, but in a way it's almost a remake. I mean, you have a lot of the same formula that from the original in this one. Um, I guess what you have here is just used maybe in a little bit different here. That obviously Linda Hamilton is back, and in the first one it was all about protecting her, and then later ones it was protecting her son, and then this one she's back to protect a young girl who, as if they're protecting somebody, it has to do with what they do in the future. So yeah, Linda Hamilton is back protecting this girl, but she's not the only one. They've sent back another. Um, I don't know. She's a human, but like a cross. What did it say? An augmented human. Um, there's some stuff that's been done to her, so she has enhanced powers. Let's just call it that. Make it easy. And she's pretty cool. She puts up a good fight and does her thing. And then of course you have a bad Terminator who is coming to kill this girl and anybody that gets in his way. What's kind of funny is he doesn't seem at times to be as bad as some of the other ones. Sometimes you saw, even Arnold when he was bad. In a way, he'd kind of want to, like, if he took something from a human, sometimes he would thank them, and other times he'd just kill them. And then in some of the other Terminators, we saw them, just if they did something to a human or came across a human, they would just kill them. This one, he seems to just not be interested totally in killing anybody he comes across, unless he's taking their shape or whatever. I think what they said is if he touches them. I don't remember if it was if he touches them or he had to kill them, but then he could take their form and identity. But what's cool about this Terminator is he has some of the other abilities that the other ones had, where you can basically blow him away and he'll still melt back together. But what's cool about this one this time is that he could kind of split apart from his robot half. So you see like the robot shell, kind of like when they show the future shots and you see those robots walking and crushing skulls and stuff. You see kind of like one of those, but maybe not as heavily armed and as fearsome, kind of maybe a thinner shell. Could kind of separate from him at times. And so basically you had now two Terminators to fight. So that was kind of like a cool addition and split to it. I thought that went well. And he was like really dark black and looked pretty scary. So I thought that was a cool thing because, they're always trying to add to the Terminator, make them different. The whole liquid thing, I liked that from the beginning. That's cool. So again, here you have him being able to do that. I don't think they, since they did a lot of that in previous Terminators, I don't think they relied heavily on that. They kind of used this splitting trick a couple of times, which was neat. So again, you have a lot of the same story here. Just them going through action scenes, saving the girl. She has no idea in the beginning. Then they're in Mexico. She has no idea in the beginning. The two Terminators, as usual, come there in their weird ways, both naked in the streets, finding people and stealing their stuff, and then heading towards their target. Then the girl protects the augmented human, protects the girl here, and the Terminator comes for her, and there's action sequences, and then Linda comes to, just when they're pretty much down and out, Linda comes and saves them, and she's actually pretty funny in the start, because they basically, she saves them, but then they kind of leave her in the dust, and she gets kind of mad, and then there's this kind of distrust between Linda and this human Terminator, whatever you want to call her. They don't completely trust each other, so they have a little back and forth, and each of them kind of wants to save the day, but they're like, if you get in my way, I'm going to kill you. If you get in my way, I'm going to kill you, and that kind of thing. Almost like a macho standoff, but you have two women here, so that was pretty funny. And then eventually Arnold comes in the picture, and he is the same Arnold Terminator from the original, that he went off and he wants to be a good citizen now, and you find out he has a family and he's living out in the woods, but he's still aware of things. He's still keeping in touch with what's happening. He has some involvement, but kind of behind the scenes. And so they go to him and seek his help out, and he joins the team, and they leave there, and basically head to a final showdown with this Terminator. And then you find out, of course, a little bit more backstory about this augmented human and her relationship with the girl they're trying to save. So that gets kind of thrown in there as well. And then you had the big showdown with the Terminator. And it's another good action scene, another fight here. They all team up. You got Arnold, you got Linda, you got this new one, even the new girl, and they all square off against the Terminator in a big battle. And you kind of see what happens there. And that's, again, that's why I kind of say, it's not they didn't call it a remake, but if you've seen any Terminator movie, this, just kind of follows the formula. Here we go again. Save, there's one character that really needs to be saved for the sake of the future. Let's save them, throw in a bunch of good action scenes and some funny lines here and there, and then that's it. It is good to see Linda come back. She the big face of this franchise here besides Arnold, and it's kind of interesting. They bring her back, and you kind of think about it how they brought Jamie Lee back for Halloween, and you have two iconic women and actresses, and then two iconic women in these franchises, and important people in these franchises. You bring them back after all this time, and it's good to see them both fit in. Although while Jamie Lee seems signed on to continue a couple of more Halloweens, it looks like, if I understand correctly, Linda is done. She doesn't want to do anymore. But that's her choice. I don't think it's necessary. As we've seen, there are Terminator movies without her. This story could move on without her if need be, and so forth. Like I said, this is a franchise that could roll on. They do so many things with the future. It could survive without Arnold as well. As much as you want them to be a part of it, just because the openness of the story. You don't necessarily need them. It's a sad fact, but it's just because of the story. Just like you have Michael Myers roll on and he doesn't need Jamie Lee. It's nice that she's in it. She's kind of the point to his killing, but, we've seen other Michaels and Halloweens without her, and, they go. Whether you like them or not, they're there. You got Michael and that's it. As long as you have a Terminator, and you build a story around it, you got it. What I would like to see, kind of talking about if they do more, is more in a future setting. There is a moment in this movie where they do take you to that future time, and you see what's going on there, and they tease that a lot in different Terminators, and I'm really more interested at this point. What we see in this movie, what we've seen in some of the other ones. That formula of saving the person, whatever, from, so that they are important parts of the future, that's all fine and good. But I'd be really more fascinated, and I know that would be an extreme budget if they really did it in a quality way and didn't just CGI us to death. But to see a future world, to see what's going on in this future, to take part in this battle against the robots there and explore that world more. Every time they do that in one of these movies, I get fascinated by that, and I don't know. I just when that happens, I guess it's a real fresh part of the movie because you don't see that, and it's usually something new. And you get to see the high tech, and you get to see the robots being robots, and they're not really hidden under a human body, and you get to see them laser firing and bombing, and these spaceships or whatever you want to call them flying above, and you see the humans really really having to fight and survive there. So if they were to do another part, that's what I'm looking for. That's the Terminator I want. And I know they kind of explored that, and I think it was the one with Christian Bale. I think kind of explored that route a little bit more, if I remember right. I don't know, my Terminator history is a little fuzzy at the moment. Um, but that's what I would want to see. I'd want to see, if they did do more, pick it up in the future time. Pick it up where the future's gone wrong. I know the whole point is to stop this future from happening, but apparently it keeps happening regardless of what they continue to try to stop. And even if you want to say, go through the whole thing and then stop at the part where they send somebody back to stop this from happening. I mean, why not do that? Lead us through the events of when somebody gets sent back, and the fight to get somebody sent back. Take it from that angle. Let's see some fighting with robots in the future, and that dark setting and everything. That's just, I think, really cool, and would be something different. You wouldn't need Arnold. You probably, you don't need Linda, obviously, and you can cast your own characters there and go at it, and I mean, if you wanted to do a whole nother trilogy, go for it, and maybe lead up to that moment. Lead up to a moment where they go back to one of these movies, if you want, or stopping another time. I don't know. Just an ideas out there. So with that, I'm really not sure how many pools of blood to give this one. Like I said, I'm not blown away by it. There's a lot of similarities. It's good to see, Linda and Arnold back. But, because it's, more of the same old and not, too much amazing new and, same formula, I think I'm going to give it 2.5. I mean, I didn't hate it, didn't love it. It is what it was. I hope, whenever they do this and they bring things back like this, I hope they don't do it for the money. I know part of it is for the money. I like to think they do it for the love of the story. I mean, it is done by the people who started this. So I would like to think they did it for the love of the story, and then maybe another shot at having Linda and Arnold back again, and why not? To kind of have a good feel for it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 2.5. Not hating, not loving this one. It was just another Terminator movie. But again, if they do one in the future, hopefully they do what I'm talking about here. So with that, wrapping this up. More video reviews. Subscribe to this channel. And horoscorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find more of these reviews, including written ones, if you're looking to read some things and not just listen to me ramble on here. The blog has several years of going back. Some years more than others, more reviews than others. All kinds of things on there, and social media down below as well. Feel free to reach out to me and talk horror, talk about this movie, other movies. There's a movie you want me to see, review, or if you just want to talk about another movie, feel free to hit me up there as well. Happy to talk horror anytime. And I guess time to move on to the next review, so I'll catch you later, horror fans.